Hello and welcome everyone again into another video. Today's video will talk about the top teams in the Open Ultra League. As you guys all know, the next rotation is going to be Great League Remix and Ultra League. Now, I know I haven't made any content about Great League Remix, and to be honest, that's because I can't find games. Like every time I try to play Remix, it takes me like 5 to 10 minutes to find a match, and it's just not worth it for me because I can just play the other league and get a match every 10 seconds. I'm not saying like I have high MMR. I don't have high MMR. I just assume like because nobody's like I can't find games because nobody's playing. So we will focus more this rotation about Open Ultra League. So stay tuned for more Open Ultra League content. If you guys would like to see remix battles, let me know in the comment section below. I might be able to get some battles. So today's video, Ultra League. What does Ultra League mean? Legendary XLs, 2500 CP, as long as they are anything you could fit anything. And if you can fit anything within 2500 CP, you can use it in Ultra League. And Ultra League is a bit of I call it the best casuals league because meta here doesn't change as frequently as other leagues. Good Pokemons will stay good Pokemons forever unless they get like a hard nerf, but usually you can pretty much use so many options in this league. As an example, Virizion, it's been Ultra League meta since they've added Virizion to the game. Corviknight, since the day Corviknight added to the game. Steelix, Cobalion, all of these Pokemons have been meta since forever. Giratina, Cresselia. There is technically no bad Pokemon in this league. So we're not going to talk about all of these. We're going to talk about more of like the condensed meta because at the beginning of the season, I make a very detailed video. You can go and watch that if you want me to go deep dive into which good why each Pokemon is good and what's their like main advantage in the Open Ultra League. So let's head to the top performing Pokemons. Top performing Pokemons are like, like how this, like as an example, if you take a look at PvP, number 1 is Grumpig, then Corviknight, then Lapras, then Dusknoir, then Feraligatr, then Dusknoir, Giratina, Tinkaton. Tinkaton is making a debut here. Maybe we will get some battles with Tinkaton. Zygarde is out of top 10 for the first time in history. Primeape is there. Gastrodon is also there. So what are the top performers? Top performers are like the Pokemons that do well against the condensed meta, and according to PvP, the top performing Pokemon is actually Venusaur. Why Venusaur? I think it's because it beats like so many good Pokemons in the one shield. Like Jolly, it get destroyed by it. Feraligatr get destroyed by it. Lapras get destroyed by it. I'm sure Lapras wins the one shield. I think the two shields, as long as the Lapras is Shadow. Would I risk using Venusaur? To be honest, no, I wouldn't risk using Venusaur. If I want to use a grass Pokemon, I would use Virizion. Okay, Virizion is slightly better and can deal with more meta Pokemons like the Steels, as an example, where like Venusaur just top left into the Steels. Dusknoir is a very interesting Pokemon. Grumpig, you can either go with the Shadow or the non-Shadow. It's literally up to you. Both are viable. Both are good. Steelix is still decent. The problem with the Steelix is like you will always need the third move that you don't have. Wheezing, still great. In fact, Wheezing and Drapion are still like the best two Pokemons to use as a safe options in this league that can, like even if they are resisted, they can still dish out so much damage. So we talked about the top performing Pokemons. Let's talk about the top performing teams. So in this video, I will provide 2 teams for each Pokemon at least. So whatever your favorite Pokemon is, you should find at least 2 teams here. As an example, we have Cobalion here. Why Cobalion? Why am I starting with Cobalion? Because I did not make any Cobalion teams dedicated for Cobalion. I get a couple questions. So see guys, I do read the comments, so if you have any concern or question, you can always leave in the comment section below. The thing about Cobalion is that it's kind of like an iffy situation where like it's good, but also can get destroyed. But it's like, unlike Virizion, you still have a play against your hard counter. Or like Virizion, as an example, against Flyers, just has no play. Cobalion can still hit with Stone Edge. Usually with Cobalion, you're concerned about Mud Slappers, but to be honest, it's difficult to cover Mud Slappers with Cobalion because you have to care about other things that are in the meta. As an example, you use Feraligatr. That's a Shadow Feraligatr. But I do believe that you do win the two. Also, something to mention, Mud Slappers aren't common as much because the only Mud Slapper in the meta is Gastrodon. That's number one. I mean, there is some Golurks here and there, but Mud Slappers get walled by Drifloon, and there is lots of people that use Drifloon in this league. For Cobalion, you need an anti-fighting Pokemon, so usually you go with Weezing. If you hate fighters, you go with Weezing, Dusknoir. If you don't care that much about fighters and you just want to be annoying and spammy, you go with the Drapion and Lapras. And now to the number one Pokemon on PvPoke, which is Grumpig. What does Grumpig do? It does everything. Yeah, as long as the matchup's in neutral, you're going to win that. Because Psywave is insane. You have Dynamic Punch, which is buffed. You have Shadow Ball for coverage. So, you know, like this situation whenever you are in a neutral matchup, you are going to win. What do you pair with Grumpig? Well, to be honest, with Grumpig, I would pair like double Dark Flying. What if you don't have a Moltres? Well, you can use a normal type like a Licky. Basically, what you're trying to counter here is two Pokemon, the Drapion and Feraligatr, and that's why in the second team I have Fortress and a Blastoise, or you can call him Glastoise because he's wearing glasses. By the way, it's not worth it using a Blastoise without the glasses. The glasses make him do like much, improve his accuracy. So you know, like in the main series game, there's accuracy, right? Some people say that you don't have. Well, if you have Blastoise with sunglasses, he's gonna always like hit his target. Next one, we have Corviknight. Corviknight, I always say it this way. Corviknight does no damage, and when it's on your team, and when you play against it, it will take too much efforts to take down. And that's because Corviknight is just like a very tanky Pokemon that's annoying, and that's why you feel like it's underwhelming under you when you use it, and very annoying when the opponent using it. And that's simply for like because of the same thing. It's annoying to use and annoying to deal with. It's annoying to use because it does no damage, annoying to deal with because it's going to take too much effort to take down. And for something like this, you need anti-flyers because Corviknight gets destroyed by the flyers because you have sand attacks. So anything flyer, double resist, it's ground stats, right? That's why you need two anti-flyers, and that's why we have Blastoise and Ufisk. Blastoise because it has rollout technically, so it's a good anti-flying Pokemon. The second team, you can go with Jellicent and Zygarde. Now moving into Lapras, basically the Pokemon that you should be using no matter what team you are using. Lapras is kind of becoming the glue in the Ultra League meta. Like you have to use Lapras in any team because it just has like a play into everything. Like as an example, Lapras should lose to dark types, right? Because it has Psywave. But the thing is, the dark type is Drapion, and Drapion has low HP, so the Psywave, it chunks him like pretty hard. And as I said, since it's weak to dark, you need two Pokemon that beat the dark, and here we have Clefable, you have Bombardier, and as the electric weaknesses to cover that, you either run it with Gastrodon or with Univa Stunfisk. Now, one of my favorite Pokemons in the Ultra League is right now is Dusknoir because it's kind of like an upgraded Shadow Drifloon. I mean, Drifloon is still better because it just walls everything about Gastrodon. While like this Pokemon is more of like a spammy version of Drifloon because Drifloon is like 5-4, I think, to a move, as far as I remember. Well, like here, it's just faster because you have a move that's 5 energy cheaper. Credeli is still as annoying in Ultra League, but you know, in Ultra League it's easier to deal with because Pokemons are tankier. Like in Great League, Credeli takes the advantage of everything dies faster, while in Ultra League everything takes forever to kill. So that's why it's easier to play against in Ultra League. And for Dusknoir, you can either go with Lapras and Clefable and just have an ABC team, or you can just go, you know, with like Credeli and and Corviknight. I still think that with Credeli, you kind of need the dark Pokemon usually. So this one could be a dark Pokemon. You could replace it with a dark Pokemon. So you just, if you're gonna have an ABB weak to Fighters team. Now, if you're talking about Psywave, there is a Psywave Pokemon that beats all the Psywave Pokemons, which is Malamar. What does Malamar do? It beats all the Psywave users. That's like the main thing about Malamar. And if you play against Lapras, you would know how annoying that. Because Psywave is triple resisted, I think. Because it's basically like Psywave just gonna do 1 damage. That's pretty much it. So if they have a Psywave and you have it on your own Malamar, you're gonna be you're gonna be cooking them. The problem with Malamar is that it's weak to Fairy, and that's why we're pairing it with a Steel Pokemon of choice. And I do recommend here using Fortress as the Steel of choice, or Registeel as well. Gastro could be your third, or you could go just Cobalion and Dusknoir, as I mentioned previously. Now, a new Pokemon that was introduced to the game, which is Tinkaton. If you have a lucky IV, you can get it. You can fit it in the Ultra League meta. What does Tinkaton do? Well, it's a Steel Fairy. It destroys all the dark. And in neutral matchups, it has a good play into everything, except stuff that are spammy, like Feraligatr. That's going to annoy everything about Tinkaton, because Tinkaton is just too slow and doesn't do damage. Well, it's not slow. I mean, it has Fairy Wind. It's just like a neutral matchup. It's kind of underwhelming. And the best thing about Tinkaton is that it has 2 great types, which is Steel and Fairy. So you have great resistances, and you do super effective to some good types that are always meta. As for Tinkaton, since it's weak to Mud Slap, you can pair it with a Flyer, or you can just go with Jolly Gastrodon, like a casual duo, double. You know, like Tinkaton Double Water is a very common team in Great League, popularized by Softooth. You can use the same concept in Ultra League and have Jellicent and Gastro. But these aren't some of the teams that I will be using. If you guys watch my stream, you know I use Drapion with Weezing in any team, and the third is gonna be either Grumpig or Gastrodon. I do love those two. They are pretty safe. They has play into everything, and you can always catch the opponent off guard, because once they miscount, they will be cooked. And that's because those two are just insanely annoying to play against. They are so spammy, and they have good resistances that they will dish out so much damage even against their own hard counters. Speaking of hard counters, like Steelix is the Pokemon that you should account for. If you don't hard counter Steelix, you're going to lose to Steelix. It's just a very tanky Pokemon, and if you're using the Shadow, it's still very tanky. The Shadow Steelix is still tanky. We're talking about 5200 stat product. That's probably the highest, right beside Cresselia in the Ultra League. I mean, Zygarde might need to have a word with them. I don't remember how much actually is Zygarde. But yeah, Steelix is just insanely fat and insanely tanky, and good into the meta as long as you don't have it on your own. Virizion just bully it, or like Sandslash. Those two are like the main counters. These are like the teams I would usually run. I would pair it usually with the Drifblim just to cover the Mudslap weakness, or Bombirdier again to cover the Mudslap weakness. Typhlosion is one of the most underrated Pokemons, but the problem with Typhlosion is that I always end up in a situation where like I'm just gonna lose. You know, like this is like the main problem with using Shadow Typhlosion, is that if you are in a situation where like you lose alignment, you're just gonna lose the game, and you know that from the beginning, so you stop trying. I might be wrong, but that's my problem when I use Typhlosion. I'm like, okay, this is Typhlosion into Gastrodon. I can't win this. There is no way the opponent will let me flip switch, so I'm just gonna lose this game. But in a neutral matchup, Typhlosion cooks in matchups against something like Weezing. You're gonna cook the Weezing. The main thing about Typhlosion, you have to cover Mud Slaps, so you kind of need to run 2 counters to Mud Slaps like this team, or you just go neutral, and pretty people don't use Mud Slap. Speaking of neutral Pokemons and safe Pokemon, Golisopod is the king in Ultra League. And using Golisopod, you have to account for one thing, which is probably the electric type Pokemons. And that's why we're pairing it with 2 ground, as you can see in the first team, which is Steelix and and Cofagrigus. While with the other one, you just go ABB, good against fighters. So you do double weak to fighting in the back with a good anti-fighting Pokemon in the lead. Credeli, I didn't want to mention Credeli actually. So yeah, I didn't want to talk about Credeli. So here is your teams about Credeli. I just get annoyed by this Pokemon. So yeah, some teams from previous rotations, Dragonite with something. This is like a very popular team that I use. I use this team too, and it was good. This team was also good. The wholesome team has always been very great and like a very well performing team. You can run just the best fight. You always run the best fighter in the meta with a normal safe swap and a good poison type. Like you could do Weezing here as well, so it's up to you. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Thank you so much everyone for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a like. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And I will catch you all in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Peace.